One of the most frequently asked questions in a chiropractic's office is when people see their x-rays. They always ask us, so how could this have possibly happened? Where did this come from? And they want answers. Let's recognize that this body of ours is supposed to be maintained from birth on. And when we answer the question of where do subluxations come from, there are so many different ways. Whether it's the birthing process, learning how to walk, sports-related injuries, poor posture, poor habits that we develop, auto accidents, different slip and falls. The list just keeps going on and on. And tonight what we're going to do is, since it's the summertime, well, we're going to focus on what most people do during the summertime. Summer vacations. Now listen, I don't care whether you're new to chiropractic, you've been around the block, you've been adjusted your entire life. Oftentimes, we sort of forget what summer vacation does to us. Now, if in fact you're new to chiropractic, that word subluxation can be a very scary word. It's a big word. Listen, all that means is that the bones come out of place, it's put pressure on the nerve, and whatever's connected to the other end can't work the way it's supposed to. Now in our office, just like a lot of other chiropractic offices, we love using the safety pin as a simple way of helping people understand. Understand what that subluxation is and how it causes that disconnect inside of our body. Now, if you've never heard this before, let me do this for you. Your brain is represented by the top of the safety pin. Each one of these arms represents the nerves that go down to the body, coming up from the body to the brain. This bottom portion, it could be your heart, your lungs, your liver, or muscle in your back. It doesn't matter. When we're not maintaining our spine, what ends up happening is we have this disconnect. That bone that comes out of place, that normal connection between our brain and our body can't work the way it's supposed to, and that disconnect doesn't allow for us to work at 100%. Now, as a chiropractor, our job is so simple. Find it, fix it, leave it alone. We take that bone that's out of place, we put it back to where it's intended to be, and in turn, this circle of life is completed. And your body gets to work exactly the way it's supposed to. Now, listen. Because we're here in Pennsylvania, we have to travel a little bit to get to most vacation spots. Whether you're in the car for an hour, whether you're in the car for 3 to 5 hours, listen, maybe you're heading down the East Coast to the Carolinas. You're at double digits. You're into that 10-hour range plus. Here's the thing. Some of those very first things that would cause subluxation to happen is that car ride. That poor posture in the car. Just simply the fact that we're sitting. All that stress from us sitting and not moving can create those subluxations. Now, our body was created, it was designed to be in motion. So when you take something that's supposed to be in motion and you stick it into a little tin can that goes down the road, well then guess what? Bad things are going to happen. And if you don't think so, you spend a couple hours in the car and you feel how your muscles just tighten up. Because they're used to being stretched out. And without being stretched out and used the way they're supposed to, they react. And that reaction is they start to shrink and tighten. Well, listen, that doesn't do your spine any good because your spine wasn't designed to handle all the force and pressure of all your upper body weight resting right on its hips. That weight, that pressure, that's supposed to be traveling all the way down through your feet into the ground so it's absorbed by that neck structure. That's not what's happening. So when we use our body in ways that it's not supposed to be used, well then guess what? There's a higher likelihood that those things are going to create that stress that's going to cause those subluxations to happen. And that's just the beginning. And listen, maybe you're saying, I don't do that. I get on a plane, I'm flying to Florida. That's absolutely wonderful. It's another form of a tin can that transports you from point A to point B. And guess what? Your body doesn't care. You're still sitting. You're having to sit for extended periods of time, not only driving to the airport, waiting for the plane ride down, and then obviously transporting yourself onto that location. But then we have that next thing. The new pillow, the new bed. Oh my goodness. You guys could probably tell me horror stories about your bedding and your pillows when you've gotten to a resort location. How horrible they are. I may as well slept on a rock. You know what? It would have been better if I just slept on the beach or, outside on a pontoon of some type. Because let me tell you, that bedding was awful. Here's the bigger problem. It's a change. Your body is used to and accustomed to a certain setup in a certain position. And in turn, many of you, and particularly those at the Limerick Chiropractic Center, have worked on improving that postural position while you sleep. We've taken you through that process of slipping and checking and making sure that you have pillows in the right place and that the pillows that you use under your head are actually the right pillows for you, depending upon which side you sleep on, which position you sleep in, because in turn, one size doesn't fit all. And yet, when you're on vacation, it's potluck. You never know what's going to be showing up. So in turn, that really bad night's sleep, oh my goodness, breaks us from that normal rhythm. Now listen, for some of you who are saying, I don't understand what the big deal is. Well, let me tell you, if you try changing something in a 3-year-old's life, hold on tight, because you're going to find that 3-year-old is going to go kicking and screaming. Rob them of that normal nap time. Maybe take away the binky or the bottle and see what happens next. Well, your body is just like that 3-year-old. Change is met with resistance, it's met with friction, it doesn't like it. And anytime we talk about stress, stress is that thing that doesn't allow for our body to function well. In fact, many of you have already experienced this. Miss a night's sleep. Oh my goodness. It was like a rock. I was waking up 3-4 times. I had to flip over. I turned. You can never get back into the right position, first off. Secondly, that interrupted sleep breaks you of your normal circadian rhythm, which means now your body isn't healing the way it's supposed to during those evening hours. All of this results in the fact that your body is under a greater level of stress. Now, here's the thing. Already many of you have thought into recent vacations and you have those nightmare stories of, oh my goodness, you know what? Planes, trains, and automobiles, it's like a John Candy movie. You know what? It was just a horrible experience getting there. Some of you can remember, I didn't get one good night's sleep while I was on vacation. I wish I had stayed home because the bed was just so bad. But for others, it's what comes next. Oh, it's the activities. Oh my goodness. New and interesting ways of creating subluxations. I'm telling you, every stupid thing that you could possibly happen is normally located at a vacation site for you. We were joking around as a team before, so many of the different things that we do maybe once or twice a year. Some of the things that we say, hey, listen, that looks cool, let's go do that. Whether it's riding the amusement rides, whether it happens to be getting on a jet ski and bouncing around, sometimes falling off of the jet ski and experiencing what hard water feels like. Those type of things, unfortunately, they leave scars behind. And the sad thing is that for many of us, we're just used to the 9 to 5 at our desk. We're not physically engaged at that level where our body's able to handle those type of impacts, those type of forces being introduced. And therefore, yes, they do leave those scars behind. And the sad thing is that those subluxations, they don't care. They don't care because they recognize once they've been planted, once those seeds have been planted, they get to continually germinate, regardless of whether you feel it or not. Oh, I sucked it up. It eventually went away. Oh, you know what? I just did X, Y, and Z, and it took away the pain. The sad thing is that scar was still left behind. And the remarkable thing is that because we're on vacations, many of us, since we don't travel with our own chiropractors, well, the sad thing is now we have that additional time between our normally scheduled supportive adjustments, which means we're building up a more ingrained subluxation. We're building up a bigger problem for when we get back. Now, the one other component that we really haven't talked about yet is good old Mother Nature, is that weather pattern. There are times when, hey, listen, we're traveling to a part of the country that has a different level of pressure, barometric pressure there. There are dry and arid parts of the country. There are more humid parts of the country. We recognize that those things, although they're outside of our body, will affect the pressure inside of our body. And in turn, because of that, will cause that degeneration, the scar tissue, the subluxations. It will cause those things to become more reactive. And here's the thing. In the end, our body doesn't care. It doesn't care what we've done to create those subluxations. Maybe it's the fact that, you know what, we started sleeping in a little bit later over vacation because, well, we didn't have to show up for work, so we broke from our normal rhythm. We spent more time in bed than we normally would. Maybe it was the fact that we found this really neat new activity to do every single day. But we've never worked through the process of actually building the body up so that it was prepared to do it. The sprains, the strains, the new damages to the joints and to the tissues because, well, we didn't give our body an ample amount of time to be built up in the process. Maybe it was the simple fact that you had that once and done activity, riding the go-karts down the beach, bouncing around. Maybe it was you got on the back of a pontoon boat and you were pulled around in an inner tube and just simply came off a couple times. Our body doesn't care. All it knows is that in the end, it wants to be fixed. And that's where your chiropractor comes in. Our responsibility is to make sure that entering into any vacation, we're doing our part to ensure that we're in that best possible position so that we can endure some of the additional stresses, some additional of those activities. In the same respect, as soon as we get back, the first thing that we should be doing is planning to have our system tested. Tested by making sure that our posture is getting checked, tested by making sure that we're going through that spinal analysis to ensure how our body is functioning. And that most important thing that the chiropractor does is finds those subluxations, puts the bones back in place so that the body is capable of being restored to that normal functioning position. Our health is directly related to the health of our spine and our nervous system. The sad thing is that it's oftentimes the last thing to be thought of, because only 10% of your nervous system even transmits a pain signal. So the sad thing is that there has to be still an extreme level of pain or discomfort for your body to actually be talking to you. And for many of us, you just simply medicate one way or another in order to control the pain. See, my hope is that in even having this conversation, we recognize the fact that, well, we need to care for our body differently. My hope is that you're going to share this information with other individuals out there in your friends group to make sure that they know that if they've never been checked, first things first, go get checked. Some individuals never even understood or understand what their baseline is, how their body is functioning. That would be that very first thing. But for some, listen, if they've been away on vacation, it's that optimal time in order to circle around and just simply make sure that their body is working in the best way possible. I'm going to encourage you to do 3 things with this video. Number 1, like it. It helps to make sure that other people have that opportunity of seeing it. Number 2 is I'm going to ask you to share this within your friends group. But number 3, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. You know, what did you do on your last vacation that you knew probably created these subluxations? And that's a big ask, because here's the thing. In the moment of being vulnerable, of saying, hey, listen, this is that possibility. Well, we help other people learn in the process that they've probably done very same, if not similar things that might have led to subluxation, which helps them understand even more the benefit of going to get checked. As always, I love doing these workshops. I love sharing this information. Leave me your comments below. I'm looking forward to seeing them and commenting on them. I'm Dr. Joseph Baker from the Limerick Chiropractic Center.